Should we be so quick to dismiss conspiracy theories at this point? Have we not seen some sort of strange influx of files being released and new information being brought to light? Whether you want to call it information or not, whether you want to say it's real or not, whether you want to say it's made up or whether you want to say it's fabricated or not. I mean, we have two situations here. We have a continuous lie that is being pressed by the media day by day, night by night, hour by hour, rating by rating, and is consistently pushing this Russian narrative, which by now we should all seem to have rejected. And if you haven't, I don't exactly know why you still insist on believing this falsehood, this sort of Hillary who cried Russia storyline fairy tale setting. I mean, at what point do the Russians actually catch up with the campaign and prove to be a reality? No, it so far hasn't. Manafort, he was indicted for some money laundering and stuff like that. Yet the whole time we were to be convinced, just as much as we were convinced that Hillary would win the election. We were convinced, not to be convinced. We were convinced that the Russian narrative was real and conclusive, which it turns out is not true. It turns out the DNC has been very petty about things. I don't even know if petty is the word. I think scandalous, it's a popular, I don't know if it's a popular word, but it's a word we throw around a lot. And when you say the word scandalous, I tend to think people think that you are speaking from some fake news premises. Oh, you must be listening to InfoWars. You must be listening to Alex Jones and Paul Joseph Watson. So you thereby are one of the harebrained, Trump-supporting, idiot backwood rednecks who make up 70% of the country, and you're all blue-collar, hard-working, honest individuals who, you're racist, you're sick, selfish, disgusting people, you're deplorable. We want to protect the rights of these minority groups, but here we are trying to marginalize white men as this minority. And it's such a tricky fucking making a deal with the devil sort of argument or hypothesis here to even actually try to defend the white man, because it's become a popular notion that white people are inherently evil, and if you try to speak in their defense, you are one of the Nazis, you are deplorable, you are a bad person. Yet we pump millions of dollars into a campaign that has led to the death of one DNC member who was leaking files against the said campaigner, and he inexplicably showed up dead one day. They say it's a home invasion, that he was burglarized, yet nothing was reported stolen. And we kind of sat around the issue for a couple months there, and then when we get a little bit more conclusive evidence, oh, it's just a big, there's nothing to see here. It's that Leslie Nielsen from Naked Gun meme. Nothing to see here, nothing to see here. Do you not think that in itself is just a little bit incriminating, that they're so refusing to talk about it, such as Kevin Spacey's refusing to talk about his quote-unquote sexuality as a gay man, you know? And to speak on that token, the gay community is condemning him with all the reason in the world. He's conflating gay people with pedophiles. And at what point do you refuse to look past the narrative, the Russian narrative, and just be like, okay, alright, I see where you're coming from. Maybe it is bullshit. And maybe it is bullshit. And just an orange cloud. Oh, wow. It's just made up. It's all fabricated. Things are getting really weird, if you ask me. The JFK files that were dropped they have suggested that after World War II, well, not suggested, they have implicated that they did in fact search for Adolf Hitler, that they were led on some, maybe a red herring of some sort, that said to people, the CIA, I guess there was some operative in there, don't know his name, but he claimed that Hitler was alive. He claimed that he was living off, I think, somewhere in South Africa. So, I mean, the revealing of this and how it came in with regards to the drop of the JFK files is really fucking bizarre if you look at it. And if you try to contemplate the idea that maybe that's true, maybe Hitler faked his death, maybe it was a body that belonged to somebody else, maybe he changed his name. I mean, you look at the Obama administration, and they will still to this day insist that they killed bin Laden, which a lot of people don't believe. Yet a lot of people do believe, and it kind of falls within the same box as that we plant a body, we say it's this person, or we just have these people say this and it's affirmed truth. I mean, just kind of just imagine that in your mind, I guess, for a moment, that this is entirely possible, that you can fake someone's death. I mean, if we can develop atomic bombs that can wipe out nations, and if we can shoot people to the moon, if we're on the verge of creating artificial limbs for amputees that can connect to the neurons in people's brains and operate like a fucking robot, what makes you think it would be so hard for someone to fake a death? I mean, really, just think about it. You think it's that impossible for someone to fake a death, especially back after 1933, after that period, after the war ended? You think it'd be impossible for someone to find a body, a different person, and just to dispose of them, and especially with someone like Hitler, who had a grand following of people who treated him like a god, a cult-like figure almost, who would just be willing to die for the Third Reich. I mean, it's not an insane idea that this guy went down into the bunker, took the cyanide, took the pistol, and shot himself in the head in the name of the Third Reich. It's entirely possible. It's entirely possible to think that his followers, his people, were that far into the woodwork that they would go to such extreme measures. I mean, it happens with the Jonestown massacre. People fucking don't want to believe the conspiracy theories. They don't have any fucking fun with themselves. They don't want to be like, oh, maybe UFOs do exist, or maybe this does happen. The rabbit hole can only go so deep before you find a measure within it that says, hey, you gotta get the fuck out of here. You're all lying to each other. It's all bullshit. You're not being affirmative. You're just you're among one of the backwoods rednecks, and you should be condemned for having such thoughts. I just thought I'd bring that to people's attentions. Do I believe Hitler faked his death? No. But would I be shocked? No. Would it be interesting? Yes. Would I almost sort of kind of like to believe it in that sort of conspiracial X-Files sense? Of course. That'd be fucking really fucking interesting to grind your teeth on for a while. But do I think it's true? Well, there is evidence in these leaked files that the CIA, the Central Intelligence Agency, the same people who have a very weird relationship with Lee Harvey Oswald and all these other weird, strange things going on. Yeah, it's pretty fucking weird. That's my take on it for the day.